All right, Kalista, I'm so excited to have you back for part two. I know last time there was work being done outside, so we had to pause. But gosh, I've been thinking so much of our conversation, and your journey has been, I think, unique compared to other uh, neurodivergent journeys, or the more common, I should say, like neurodiverse journeys that I'd hear. So for today, I wanted to like really fast forward to a later stage in your life. I wanted to hear a little bit more, or a little bit about like the time around your daughter was born, because I know this is an important part of your story. Like, can you give us a sense of like what was going on in life before you got pregnant and got your daughter? How were you managing life, or how did you feel like you were managing life? And then, yeah, take us through that journey of to your daughter being born and then managing life after, and what you started to notice.
Yeah, of course. So I think around 2020 when we got sent home from school for COVID, everything was online. I think I was kind of back and forth between either like, okay, let me continue with biology, but just take it a little bit slower. And in between that and like switching my major to something that would be a little bit easier. So I kind of wasn't sure, but I knew like, okay, I was going to slow down a little bit. I've always struggled a little bit more with online classes. And so I knew I wasn't going to keep going at the same pace. And then I got married end of 2021 when I was pregnant with my daughter. I had her early 2022. And yeah, I was really excited to have her. I was super lucky in that I had like a very easy pregnancy and delivery with her. I mean, I definitely was like very anxious and isolated, like both due to like COVID and just staying home and everything. But I was excited to have her, and
Yeah.
everything was going well up until having her, which was
Oh,
really, really great.
sorry, I wanted to ask, like, because the stages of like preparing for a baby to
Mhm.
come, like, there's just so much between the
Yes.
doctor's appointments and setting up the baby's room. Like, there's a lot of planning that's
Mhm.
needed, and I know there's time because you're pregnant, and obviously during this time you were home during COVID. But did you feel good? Did you feel on top of it? Or
I feel like as far as just like the stages of pregnancy and everything, I was like very interested in like pregnancy and childbirth and all of that, like leading up to being pregnant with my daughter. So I was kind of aware of like, okay, these are the different things that are going to happen at each stage. These are the different like doctor's appointments, different things I'm going to need to do. And so I kind of just let myself relax, and I kind of already had that information. And so by the time I was actually pregnant with her, like I didn't do any of the reading or anything. Like I had kind of already done that. So on that side of things, I was good. But then like the practical side of things of like getting everything together, like, okay, what type of, I don't know, stroller do we want? Like all of those little things. And then
yeah,
like preparing our home, like I wanted to declutter, and we had kind of done some of that, but not as much as I wanted to. And I think I kind of just had it in my head, like, okay, I'll get a few things together. Like I did kind of put together a registry, and I felt like I had the basic things. But I think I was just so relaxed going into it that I was like, okay, I'll just figure that out, like figure out what I want like after she gets here. And that led to me being like very overwhelmed, because it was like, okay, where even are like the next size up of diapers, or
yeah,
like where is my stuff? Like I didn't have a room set up with her. Like I just kind of had like the extra room, which had been my office basically, like my my space, like guest room, but like I mean the only person staying there was my mom, and I called it her guest room. So it already had a bunch of random stuff, and then all the baby stuff was just like thrown in there. And I don't know, I definitely could have asked for help like from my mom or my husband, but like I don't know, I think I just kind of figured out like, okay, I'll just figure it out when the time comes. But then
yeah.
it was really stressful, like right after she was born. I mean, of course, adjusting to a newborn and all of that, but even just the, yeah, like finding what we needed. It was like, what's
Yeah.
going on? Like, I maybe should have been a little bit more prepared.
All right. Well, thank you for
Hmm.
taking me through that. I can relate to
Yeah.
that sounds kind of similar to my preparing experience as well. Okay, so you said you had a pretty easy, like relatively easy, quote unquote, delivery. And yeah, tell us about like just then your first chapters into motherhood.
Yeah, so definitely as soon as we had her, even in the hospital, like I remember like I know a lot of people are like really excited to get out of the hospital, but me and my husband were like totally content to stay there because it was nice having like the nurses bring in formula because she was a little bit jaundiced, so they like recommended us starting with a little bit of formula, and like anytime we needed anything, just kind of asking someone to come bring it in. And that was really great because even from the time she was born, I mean, looking back, she was definitely much more sleepy than, later weeks, but she was very alert, very active, and waking up a lot from the time she was born. And I think we were both like, oh my gosh, like, okay, this is a lot. And so my mom was like at home, like waiting for us when we came home because I knew I would want some help, like in the beginning at least. And so I think the initial plan was like, okay, she'll stay with us maybe for a few weeks, see what we need. And then I ended up just really needing the help. And like my husband went back to work right away. And so I was kind of like to my mom, like, okay, can you just stay like indefinitely? So for the first 6 months to like year, she was here most of the time. Like she would go back like for a weekend or a day here and there. She lives with my stepdad, like about like 45 minutes away. So she would go back here and there. But during that initial period, like she was with us most of the time because I just needed the help.
Yeah, your
Mm-hmm.
mom sounds like a wonderful support system.
Yeah.
Then when did things start getting like overwhelming where you realized that you needed additional support?
I mean, definitely as soon as we got home in like the first couple of weeks, and I felt like I had done a lot of research and stuff leading up to that, but it was like I don't know. I feel like the things that like I had difficulties with were like a little bit different than what I was expecting.
Okay.
I mean, of course, like the sleep and stuff, which everyone talks about, and just having her wake up so frequently for a long time. And then she would go through periods of just like like inconsolable crying, like starting like I don't know, 5 or 6 p.m. I know they'll call it like witching hour or whatever, but like
Yeah.
into the night of just a long night where she was just like very difficult to soothe. And yeah, I just didn't know how I would react to that, which yeah, I had a pretty tough time with that, with the crying and with the interrupted sleep and everything.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
I know from our previous conversation
Hmm.
that like your experiences into like early motherhood like took you to seek some support with like a therapist because you yeah, so I'm just curious about what initiated that. Where I think that the thing that a lot of women experience is during this stage everyone's like, oh, it's so hard to be, it's just a hard stage, this is normal, like,
Hmm.
and it can almost be not intentional, but like minimizing of how hard it is, and that no, it's not just a season to just like get through it, And so I really admire that you saw that you didn't need to just like grit your teeth and just get through it. You took the step and got some additional support during that time. And I'm curious what was like the catalyst to be like, no, I think I want to go talk to somebody, you know, skilled
Yeah.
and experienced in like mental, emotional health,
Mhm.
wellness, those areas.
Yeah. So I don't know if there was like a specific thing, but I think somewhere within, I think those for maybe first like 3 to 6 months. I'm not sure how long it exactly took me to reach out for help, but I think I was kind of in that mindset of like, okay, this is like the newborn stage, like it's tough, like just get through it. But I had my mom around to help a lot. We kind of had our routine down, even though we were both just like, oh my gosh, stressed out and like all over the place. But it was like, okay, we're like getting through this. She's, hopefully as she gets a little bit older, it'll be easier. But I think just as time went on, and I think I was just still having such a hard time just managing like the day-to-day things of like, okay, getting her to the doctor's appointments and like, doing all the dishes. And initially, like I had planned on breastfeeding and we had a hard time with that. So then I was pumping. And so then you got like the bottles, the pump parts, and like it's just so many dishes constantly. And the
Yeah.
laundry.
Like
You're going through so much laundry.
yeah, you're taking me back to that period
Mhm,
for myself. But
mhm.
I think what you're calling out is like the day-to-day tiny like details of things that need to get done was almost like was it really overwhelming and just
Yes, it was very overwhelming. And it was just getting to the point where it's just like, yeah, just getting through the day, getting through those basic things. Like I was so overwhelmed and it wasn't getting better.
yeah. For you, was it a different kind of overwhelm than like, when you're in school and you have like a big test and you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much studying to do for this test, and you can feel overwhelmed there. Like, did it feel different in your body? Like the type of overwhelm? Because I know for me, like the type of overwhelm I would feel with those like little daily thing, it was like agonizing, of like, oh my gosh, I have to do this every day. Like it's just as like itching on the inside of my body. Like
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. Like that's how the overwhelm feels different than like a school stress where it's like overwhelm from the outside coming in. Like the experiences you're describing to me feel very weird, because it's like, yeah, I just can describe it as like itching from inside my body and being like, oh my gosh, I can't do this every day.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like painful. And it's because it's never ending. It's not like, oh, here's this goal with school or with work and maybe it's stressful, but it's something I'm excited for and then I can, accomplish it and be done with it and on to the next thing. It's just like this is never going to end. This is just life. And especially when that you're staying home and that's all that you're doing, you just become like so consumed by it. And then it's like, okay, why am I having such a hard time with like these little things? Like I'm
Yeah.
not doing anything else. And like, am I a good mom? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's going on? Like, because it seems, I mean, yes, people talk about, having a kid being tough, but it's like, this just seems like it's more difficult for me for some reason.
Yeah. And so your therapist was the
Mhm.
first one to suggest a potential neurodiversity. Like, have you considered ADHD? Right?
Yeah,
What was
yeah.
what was that like? And were you caught off guard by the
Hmm.
reference to ADHD?
A little bit, because I initially went in for like anxiety because I had developed like driving anxiety and I like stopped driving during COVID
Yeah.
and right after I had my daughter. So I went in specifically for that and I was like, okay, like maybe I have a little bit of generalized anxiety, like maybe there's some anxiety around some other things, but like it's mostly this specific thing.
Yeah.
And there was also just like the daily overwhelm and stuff that I was like, I know to some people this might present more like anxiety or depression. And like maybe there's some of that, but I kind of knew like that wasn't fully what it was, but I also didn't know what it was. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, people are always talking about therapy, people are talking about medication, like whatever, I want to figure out what's going on. Like, I don't want to let myself get to a really bad place. So like, I'll just try this out and like, okay, you tell me what's going on. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I'm here for. And so she was kind of like, okay, yeah, like I'm definitely like, and I think I filled out a few questionnaires. She definitely asked me about my history and stuff. And I just kind of, of course, I think brought up those like consistent patterns of overwhelm, whether it was just like school or life stuff, and then having my daughter. And I think through that, like she just kind of was like, okay, like have you ever, heard of ADHD? Has anyone ever brought this up to you? And I was a little bit caught off guard because it wasn't what I was expecting to go in for. But there had been a time, because I was really interested in reading like psychology books and stuff. So just randomly, I picked up like, I think it was called like The Queen of Distraction.
Uh-huh.
And I think I related to a lot of it, but I think I knew I did not like present as like typical ADHD. And even though that was a book that was like, yeah, geared towards like girls and women, I still was just like, no, like that's not me. Like I just need to try harder, like put that away, forgot about it until the therapist brought it up later on. And I was like, okay, that was the only time I'd kind of heard or like, thought of it, had that little inclination, but then just totally put it off and forgot about it.
Okay.
Hmm.
So then your therapist mentioned it and you
Hmm.
take us through, so you got your diagnosis and then you got some support because we know each other from the ADHD coaching group that we're both
Hmm.
a part of, Focused, Kristen Carter, which I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for that group, and so you got your diagnosis and then got into a support community. And I'd just love to hear like what were the shifts that you started to notice, you know, in all those symptoms, the overwhelm, the anxiety, everything.
Yeah, so I think what was really great about Focus, and it was my therapist that told me about Focused as well, and I kind of just was like, this looks really cool, but like I don't know, I'm like was kind of hesitant about like the coaching program, and so I just kind of sat on it for like, I don't know, maybe 6 months or something until I finally was like, okay, like I could use some more support. Like, let me just try it out. And I don't engage with like all of the materials because there's so many things on
Oh,
there that you can do. But I mostly just listen to the calls and things. And like what I really liked about it was just, I think, really getting that deeper understanding of like yourself and what's really going on versus a lot of the just, typical ADHD like materials, books, handouts you get, which are good because, some will get to the underlying like biology and all of that. But a lot of them,
yeah.
when it comes to the like practical tips and tricks, it's just the same like use a planner, use timers, which like I do and I love, but like it doesn't really get to the underlying experience and feelings and all of these, I
Yeah.
guess, just ideas and thoughts about yourself and what's going on that kind of develop over time. And so I think just hearing other people's experiences was just like really helpful and like not feeling alone and having more of that understanding of myself.
I love that. And I'm trying to keep an eye on the time, just
Yes.
respectful of it. Are you okay if we go like less than 5 minutes over?
Yeah, yeah, we can go a
Okay.
little over. That's fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I feel like I don't know what the word is. Like I feel like so happy for you that you took these steps and you like understood, something that was at the
Mhm.
root of all of that overwhelm and discomfort. And then you got like this amazing support group. And I feel like you got tools, you got a better understanding of yourself so early into your motherhood, because I know that for many women, when that overwhelm is coming up, it is just normalized as it's just motherhood, but
Mhm.
really it's some of the executive function gaps are showing through in this new life stage, right? Where there is a lot of like tactical day-to-day necessities of just keeping a little human alive. So I would love to just kind of close out by getting an understanding of like how much that understanding of yourself, I mean, it's a label, but that label helps you get a ton of resources, and into communities and, a better understanding of yourself. So how you feel like that has played into your motherhood journey versus, gosh, do you ever think about if I didn't know that I had ADHD, like this would be 10 times harder, And
Oh
and my
yeah.
goal of it really is like for anyone who's in a similar chapter, and it's
Mhm.
like overall, like why might it be worth it for them to just go like just sanity check if there's like something, underneath, like a root cause that might be driving the overwhelm, and it might be worth the extra steps to go see a therapist or to go get an assessment and just find out.
Yeah, definitely. And it's for me, it's definitely still an ongoing process because I like haven't really found a medication that's worked super well for me. So still a little bit of trial and error with that. But I think just having that understanding and knowing like, okay, it's not just me, like it's not just there's something wrong with me, that really, has enabled me to kind of look out and find like, okay, what other resources are there? What other support can I access? And like, I'm definitely, I think, pretty privileged in being able to, have access to therapy or medication if I want it, like support groups. I mean, throughout my experience having different education options, everyone's going to be in a different situation, and not everyone's going to have access to all of those resources and things. But I mean, I guess I would just encourage anyone, like, if you are struggling, like whether that's in your personal life or school or work or relationships or whatever, like it is worth it to, seek out like whatever resources are available to you. And people have different experiences with different things. I'm sure some are better than others, and I don't think that there's like a blanket answer of like, okay, therapy is going to solve everything or medication is going to solve everything. But I think if you can get some of that more of an understanding of yourself, and see what help is available to you, like it can get better and it can get easier. And even just that, just knowing what's going on, like takes some of, I don't know, I guess just some of that heaviness like off of
Yeah.
yourself, even though like, yeah, it's still hard, of course, but just
Yeah.
knowing what's going on, like.
You know what I was when I was saying I'm so happy for you. I feel like you gave yourself this amazing gift, like when you took those steps to get support, and then it led to like better understanding and discovery. Like I think you just gave yourself this like incredible gift that in the long run has probably made so many other different points of like motherhood, like have allowed you to like enjoy them more than having them lost in overwhelm of constantly being like, why is it harder for me to be doing this? I think that's such a beautiful thing. And uh, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a little bit envious, because I'm like, oh, when I think back about when my kids were little, there was so
Mhm.
much lost of like self-blame and all of the stuff. Like, why can't I be a good mom that has the snack bags ready? Like there was so much lost
Mhm.
in that. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing that, story. And like you said, I mean, especially I know I live in the Bay Area, there's a lot of resources out there, but any resources, great books to understanding yourself, can be such value. I guess, is there, I don't, I guess I'm trying to uh, ask, is there like one area in your life where your awareness of like how to manage yourself with ADHD, like now is so predominant compared to before, when you didn't know how to manage your uniqueness, in this area?
Mhm. Well, I think with just all the home tasks and like with my daughter and stuff, like it's really just allowing myself to like make things as easy on myself as possible, whether that comes to just like ordering groceries. I'm not really going to do a whole lot of like real cooking like most of the time. Like it's just not going to happen. It's going to be like snack meals, little components of meals, and like that's just how it's going to be, and like not feeling bad about that. And I am pretty lucky, yeah, to have a support system, to have both like my mom and my mother-in-law that can help out. And so just like actually asking for help again, like when I need it, and like not feeling bad about it, just being like, okay, can you come over? Can you help with these things? And so, yeah, I'm really lucky and I'm really glad to have them. But I think in the beginning, it was definitely like a little more like trying to tough it out, or not wanting to say that, like, okay, I'm having a hard time with these things. And
Yeah.
to now just being like, okay, like, nope, I need the help. I'm going to take whatever help I can get, especially with going back to school. I'm, trying to take on a lot of things at once. And so, in order to still like, show up and like be able to enjoy some time with my daughter and do what I need to do for school, like, yeah, I needed take all of the help I can get. And I'm just really appreciative of them and that I have that. And then with school, I mean, it's really been just taking it slower and like understanding my capacity and not expecting myself to be like a robot that's
Yeah.
just going to be like productive 24/7 and like follow the plan exactly, and like never take any breaks. Like I don't know. I think my expectations of myself, like not even just of a person with ADHD or a mom or a person that has a lot of things going on, like just of a human in general, is like,
Yeah.
okay, that's just not possible. Like
Yeah.
it's
I love that.
completely unrealistic. Like my idea of like, okay, there's only a certain amount of hours in the day,
Yeah.
like that just wasn't going to work like
Yeah.
what I expected myself to be able to do before. So
I love your mindset. It's so healthy and inspiring. Gosh, thank you so much, Kalista. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story. And yeah, I know I mentioned before I hit record, but I know it has my wheels turning, and there's a lot of your story that has made me think about just my kids and offering them some unique opportunities and support for like building a life that really kind of just works for them instead of going through like the traditional systems. And, I can kind of see talking with you how some of that really fed into like, I think maybe more like self-trust than
mhm.
what I see in a lot of other stories of just not, of constantly having to try to fit into a system that just doesn't work, for many of us. So it's
Yeah,
really inspiring to see.
yeah, thank you for having me on. And I think it's so great that you're just doing so much and doing what you can to like make things a little bit easier on your own kids and like figuring out how to support them. I think that's like so great. And I think that's been so great with like my own mom. Like even though like yes, it's not always been perfect, but like I think that was really a strength, was just, being willing to figure out what worked for me and like make
Yeah.
make changes.
Well, thank you for that.